NaNoWriMo is almost upon us, and I need to make sure I'm fully prepped. I'll explain to you how prepping based on my past experience. First off, year one. First time I've entered NaNoWriMo 4 days beforehand. What is it? I did not know. All I knew was the fact that I had to write 50,000 words for a novel within a month. That in itself was a challenge. But one of the main problems I had when it came to that particular NaNoWriMo was the fact that it took me all day just to write the requirement words for the day. 1,667 words. The requirement words for the day. That did not work. I had to create a schedule. So this is where my schedule comes in for this nano. Since I have to be up before 5 o'clock in the mornings, yeah, that's a normal day for me. I'm going to write in the mornings before 7, that I start working at 7. Then from after work, I can squeeze in a bit of time or few sprints, which I will get to in the end before I go to bed. So that was what I learned the first time around, is I need to create a schedule. Now, how do you figure out your schedule? Writing it, sticking to it. That is when I started my business, I got mainly WhatsApp to work with. I went on the forums and found my region, and that was the only way I could connect with my fellow writers near me. In that time, I've learned about word sprints. A little bit of research did help. You sit down for a set amount of time to write as fast as you can, as well as you can. Let's be honest, it's nano. As long as there's words, and as long as you get to your 50,000 word count in the end of the month, you're good. But that's got me to think. Sprinting actually does help. At the moment, that's how I do most of my stuff. Working in 25-minute chunks. But some of the stuff I do not less. That is yet something else I've discovered after I've discovered the sprints. But for my sprints this time around, it will be 15 minutes, then a 5-minute break. And if I look to my actual schedule and time I'm allowing myself to write in the mornings, that will leave me with 4 or 5 sprints. And then the rest I can squeeze in just before I go to bed, or a bit in the afternoon after work. Okay, before you go and say, but don't I need to travel? Don't I need to worry about that? No, I work from home. As a seamstress, as a crafter, everything is at home. I don't have another studio to go to that requires me to leave home. So instead of wasting an hour and a half trying to figure out what to do, I can actually write. Sometimes I might just write past the time I need to start working. Like I said, I work for myself. I work from home. So I can actually have a bit of a flexible schedule. Well, that's in the morning. It's the afternoon which is my problem. A mother that loves to take me to the shops because I have to get out of the house. That's it. I need to get out of the house. Therefore, my work day have to end when she gets home. So the sprints I need to do in the afternoon will have to wait for when we are all at home relaxing for the afternoon, evening. Then another thing I have learned also around about this time that I need to learn is to plan my novel. I'm going to use my 13 plot point method, which will be linked below for in case you are interested. Then as I try to learn more about writing, trying to figure out what to do, how to do, I started following people on YouTube that actually writes. One of them would be Sarah Cannon. Her YouTube channel, Heart Breathings, and there's where I've learned some of the word sprints, some of her HB 90 method. Yeah, if you actually pay attention and go to whoever is actually trying to follow it, you'll quite get a bit of information. But when Sarah starts the plan for NaNoWriMo, one of the things she does plan, which is something I am eager to try this time around, would be to know my rough estimate word count, which I can actually count how many sprints I need to do for the day, how many sprints I still have left before I need to finish the novel. This leaves me with about 7 sprints during each day, with a word count average of 250 words per sprint. If all goes well, I have another thing, which will probably be on my crafting channel, which I will link below, will be about my actual way I want to keep track of these words. Now we are at the last few things I want to try and prep and prime and hopefully follow through would be each milestones you get a reward. Something I would like to try would be to do skincare, self-care, more in the lines of beauty. So I've got a bunch of products that I've bought, and now I also added it to ChatGPT, telling it, this is what I've gotten, how do I divide it up? Well, this is an interesting one. Based on everything I've got, skin mask, foot masks, hand mask, the fact that I did study a bit on doing nails, ChatGPT divided my milestones as the following: 10,000 words, 20,000 words, 25,000 words, 30,000 words, 40,000 words, and 50,000 words. If you're about to go, but there's only the 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, ChatGPT decided that due to the amount of products I have bought and based on all the information that's already available on the internet, based on some of the types of product, I need to celebrate or reward myself with atypical milestones in NaNoWriMo, which will be the 10,000 and 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, and 50,000 words. But due to the amount of stuff I've got, I'm now also celebrating the halfway point. And because I was on TikTok scrolling and stuff, TikTok kind of diagnosed me with ADHD and the fact that I do end up getting burnout with some of the crafts I do, and the way my brain kind of normally ends up working. I am going to make a quilt, a word tracking quilt. In other words, I am going to hand sew my word progress in the form of a quilt. Before you're questioning it, here's the basic rundown. My average word count that I need for a sprint, which I can get in a sprint, is about 240, 250. That leaves me with about 7 sprints a day. And there is no simple shape, easy to grab, can get it easily done quilt block that have 7 parts. I am talking about a simple, straightforward shape that I'm sewing 2 together and forming something else, and with a total of 7 that I have 1 block. But since I cannot find it, but I can find one of 8, here's how it's gonna look. Sprint 1 to 7 plus my average for the day, which means 8 parts to this quilt, which means triangles which I will be sewing together. If you're wondering how I'm gonna have the layout of this day-to-day blocks, as the day blocks being sewn together, it will be 5 days wide and then 6 groupings would be day 1 to 5, day 6 to 10, day 11 to 15, day 16 to 20, day 21 to 25, day 26 to 30. So if we go with what everybody normally do around the prep work of the actual challenge, I've got my schedule. Before you say I don't have my food, that's old news for me. That's something me and my mother is running with for ages, so I'm not even gonna bother by that. I've got my rewards, I've got a way to track, and I will make an additional tracker for this, so I can keep track of what block needs to be what color, just in case I'm getting behind in the actual quilt. Then we get to the reasoning behind NaNoWriMo, our novel. Although I have not yet, at this current moment, fully planned my novel, that's the thing. As long as I've got an idea of how I want to start it, and more or less in what direction I want it to go and how I want it to end. Usually the ending is the not so sure about, but it does not bother me part. Normally for me, when it comes to planning a novel, I need to have the basic idea which method of plotting I'm using, and about day 6 or 7, maybe day 8, I will go, maybe I need to try and figure out how to actually have this story goes. But I want to have that done kinda before Nana starts. Since this year, the beginning of Nana 13, 13, okay, 11, 2 cats plus then the next day another cat. Getting fixed, 10-day waiting would be stressful, so I need to have that done. And they're not my cats. But the problem is I know how some of the family members around me are when it comes to cats, which means I'm gonna have to panic about them. And the worst would be the first 2 days, which means my birthday would be spent panicking, which I already got something for. Something to keep my nerves calm enough. If all goes well, I can plan quickly and get that out of the way and to be fully prepared for Nana when Nana gets